Hi, and welcome to another episode of Periscope, the paranormal from A to Z. This week we are covering the letter K.
K.
The letter K.
K. There's so many things I can think of that are paranormal that start with K.
Well, let's hear them.
Oh boy, be prepared because it's going to be a long list.
Going to be an incredible list. Let's hear them. You can do it.
Killers?
Killers, he says. Killers.
Like paranormal ones?
Oh, the paranormal killers, of course. Not regular killers.
Like that hitchhiker? Urban legend. Also, kinetic movement? Isn't that what the one ghost hunting thing tracks when it does the little stick figures? Isn't that
Kinetic movement? That's the Kinect, you mean?
yeah.
The Kinect camera?
Yeah, that's it.
That's true. That is an SLS device that was created for the Xbox.
Does it?
So that it will create a wireframe of your body so that you can interact with the video game. But people have learned that it will create wireframes around spooky things. So yeah, there you go. Not
Does
bad.
it start with a K?
It does. The
Okay,
Kinect,
good.
the Kinect is, in fact, it starts with a K.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we have one that was especially modified so that it actually attaches to a tablet, and you can take it on ghost hunts and set it up.
It's pretty cool.
It is very cool. It's not the most reliable thing in the world because anything that has a line, it registers. You know, if anything meets in a T, it'll try to make a body out of it. So it is kind of neither here nor there, really, when it comes down to it. So interestingly, in the museum, we received a doll that purportedly came from Japan, and it was actually owned by a young girl who tragically drowned to death, and the family felt that it was the doll that seemed to be emanating this strange and pesky spirit. And after conversing with the owner, and she was having terrible experiences with the doll, so she brought it and donated it to the museum, we determined that the spirit was most likely a kitsune.
A kitsune.
A kitsune.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to steal your thunder.
A kitsune is a fox-shaped spirit in Japanese lore. It's usually a trickster, a prankster. It is not typically evil per se. It is just a bit of a prankster. But when a kitsune wants to assert itself over a person, it will possess a person. It will climb into the person and cause all kinds of and wreak all kinds of havoc, and can, in some cases, promote self-harm to the person that it possesses, because a kitsune is trying to experience life as a human, and oftentimes what they're interested in is human suffering and observing it, having the sensation of it. So they oftentimes possess people in order to experience physical or emotional duress. So the kitsune oftentimes...
It's like the worst part of being human.
But I think it is one of those observationally human things is how we deal with our pain. Most creatures will let go of their pain the first opportunity they can. They will, they will seek to end the suffering, and humans do have a tendency to linger, to hold on to their suffering even after death. So there is a lot of spiritual potency to human suffering.
It's hard for me to imagine because you say it's a fox creature?
Yes.
All I can imagine is a little cute anime fox.
That is not unlike what they look like.
Oh, yeah?
Except they usually have numerous tails. The most powerful of them have 9 tails. A fox with 9 tails, a kitsune. And you'll see them in, like, there are Pokemon that look like them. There are all kinds of Japanese anime, like...
Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog?
Tails is a kitsune in a lot of ways.
Look at that. Sonic the Hedgehog,
if you have,
paranormal.
2 tails, you're a very young and very not so powerful kitsune, and then I think it ranks up the number of tails you get. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that specific lore. But intriguingly, while trying to help this person rid themselves of this kitsune aggression, we came across another K word that is also a Japanese sort of demon, a kappa. K-A-P-P-A, a kappa. And a kappa is basically looks like a turtle with a bowl on its head. And
Sure.
when you see these images, the last thing you think is, well, that's going to be a problem because it's a turtle with a bowl on its head. However, it is a very powerful and very dangerous entity, tries to drown people all the time. It is a water spirit, tries to lure them out. And so when we were talking about the story of the Jigoku is the name of the doll, when we're talking about the story, the fact that it starts with a girl who drowned herself or was drowned, the first thing that came to my mind was a kappa. Although kappas are not known to possess people, they're really just known to kind of menace and use some kind of power of suggestion. They don't like manifest in dolls or things like that. A kitsune can do all kinds of more spiritual things. Kappa seems to be more physical, really. Although they're both yokai, which we will talk about when we get to Y, because we don't have a lot of Ys lined up.
When I was in college, the only kappas I knew were just people who drank a lot.
Oh, well, yes, there you go. This is not the Greek letter kappa. This is the Japanese word kappa. The interesting thing about kappas are they're turtle creatures that have bowls on their head, and the bowls have water in it. And the way you defeat a kappa is to spill the bowl of water, to spill water out of the bowl. They become weak. So one of the best ways to deal with a kappa is to show really high respect and bow to the kappa. And the kappa, if you've shown the appropriate amount of respect, will bow in return because they are honorable, and the water will come spilling out of the bowl, and you have defeated the kappa.
Wow. That's like you got a spot on your shirt for demon
Basically.
defeating.
If you could pull that one off, if you're like, oh, that's a kappa, oh, you got something on your shirt, and they look down and the water comes out, you won. Not quite the honorable way of
Shoes
winning.
untied. Yeah.
Other K words. Stephen King.
Oh.
Stephen King.
King. Yeah.
So Stephen King has been terrifying people for almost 50 years. Yes.
Long time. So
Long
ever since
time.
I can remember.
Yeah, my entire life,
Yeah.
Stephen King has been a name, a household name in horror. And that puts us in this interesting conversation of public awareness of spooky entities, public awareness of things. Some people blame Stephen King for the rampant fear of clowns. I do not. I think I came to my fear of clowns, honestly, by seeing a clown.
It's a great story. Ask him about it sometime.
Sometime. But the truth of it is, it's a very paranormal notion that public awareness and public belief can affect reality, and reality skews towards what everyone can agree upon. And if Stephen King is out there pumping out story after story that people are ingesting and digesting and becoming fearful of, those fears become very solid concerns in a spiritual way, because we are spiritual pack animals, basically. We travel in these tribes spiritually, and our linkage is what we believe. What keeps us together and binds us together, even if we're not of the same faith entirely, if our beliefs align, we kind of live in the same atmosphere. We start to fear the same things. We start to recognize the same patterns of the same things, and that's how the satanic panic works. That's how a calling upon a group's ideology to sort of exemplify what they are going to do, how they're going to behave, what they're going to do. If you're trying to make people afraid, you take their common belief and you turn it into a fear. And I think Stephen King is responsible for a generation's worth of that kind of storytelling trauma, because we're all familiar. And in many cases, people don't even realize that it was a Stephen King story to begin with. Right. They only know the fear. They don't know that he was out there sowing the seeds of these fears. Do you have a favorite Stephen King?
I like Stephen King's Bachman books.
Oh, yes.
I
Yeah,
am a
absolutely.
huge fan of Regulators in that series.
Sure. He definitely was a more of a raw writer in the Bachman era. He was definitely writing things that felt very like scraped against your skin kind of feeling.
Yeah, that one out in the desert and
yeah.
all the talk.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because here we are in 2025, and I want to say this year there's probably more Stephen King content than I've seen in a long time.
There's like three
Long
movies out
Walk,
currently.
The Running Man, the Monkey, Life of Chuck.
That's right, Life of
The prequel to It, the Welcome to Derry. All of that is coming out right now, and it's interesting because that just tells you how much the public awareness of his creations, his mythology, if you will. And I think that's kind of what we're dealing with our entertainments. Mm-hmm. Our entertainments have become the mythologies that we kind of align with, and now the question is, how is that affecting our reality? If we're sitting there worshiping at the altar of these creations, is it affecting us? Is it affecting the reality we live in? That is a great question. That plays into my overarching concept of the paranormal, which is that human belief and human attention can alter the reality we exist in. And
this is my favorite concept.
Why, a long time ago, there were more instances of like goblins and ghouls and things like that was because there were more people believing it. And the more people that believed it, the more solid they were. And that experiential existence was contingent upon people believing. But if you could convince people not to believe it, if you could convince people that it doesn't exist, it might just disappear entirely. And now we are in the throes of a renaissance of belief, in ghosts, and a renaissance of belief in aliens and all these things. And suddenly they are more prevalent. We are catching more, we're seeing more and more reports are coming in. And what is the balancing act here? It's the classic story where people say, I'll see it when I believe it. But I believe it's, if you believe it, you will see it. And that is now where we can turn our eyes on like Edgar Allan Poe and Stephen King and to a much lesser Dean Koontz. And the fact that there are people who are creating mythologies. Lovecraft is an excellent example of, of a mythology that is so insidious. It's really ingrained because so many people took inspiration from him. And when they took inspiration from him, they were really just stretching out what he had. And now there are people who fully believe that Cthulhu is a real thing. There are people who fully believe that the creatures and notions that Lovecraft put forth are legitimate. That they're translations of real gods and deities.
Right.
There's a lot of argument that it all matches up to ancient Babylonian text, or it all matches up to some Mesopotamian mythology. And the truth of the matter is, we're always looking for connections, and our minds will give us just about anything.
If you want to find it, it'll be there.
If you want to find it, it'll be there. Yeah. Which is sad because that means that all the suffering and all the pain and all the strife that we experience, it is just a matter of us willing and believing that they don't. That could end it. Just don't work that way, I don't think.
I was having a conversation yesterday with another employee here, Patrick. When I graduated high school, we had this English teacher. He was like everybody's favorite. And he never went to anybody's graduation parties at the end of high school, but he came to my graduation party. And I was honored, Mr. Matthews. But he gave me a book, and it was called As a Man Thinketh.
Oh, sure.
And that, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. And that is, I think that's where I started getting that love of that idea of...
And it's such a powerful notion. It truly is, because we have a hard time defining reality. We tend to only work on this perceptive notion, but people have such wildly different perceptions.
Yeah.
And the question then becomes, well, who am I to say what is real when somebody else is experiencing something in the deepest throes of their beliefs? I can't just dismiss what they have experienced. Their reality is different than mine. And thereby I have to associate that to my reality. Could I make my reality different through an application of faith and dedication? It sounds like hard work, and I doubt I'll ever do it. But it does. It harkens to the people who climb to mountains and meditate and achieve enlightenment. Their notion is through a concentrated meditative state, you can alter not just your spiritual being, but your physical being as well.
It's fascinating. It
It is
really
fascinating, kind of endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Kaiju.
No, that's
What's wrong with kaiju?
Kaiju's great. Kaiju is, of course, giant monsters. Giant monsters.
Giant monsters.
Which, again, a reflection of societal fears, really. These all-encompassing giant creatures that can't be stopped. They're unstoppable. And some people will say, well, that's the metaphor of nature itself. So when you're dealing with some giant monster, it's the fact that nature can be merciless, and you cannot stop it or sway it or reason with it. In the case of Godzilla, of course, it was a metaphor for the atom bomb, the pure destructive power that humans can wield, and when they do, the after effect of it can be so very terrible. And now we're only now kind of coming to an understanding about allegorical monsters, because if you go back, there are always giants. There are leviathans and giant sea creatures, and the giant sea creatures may well have been, whales and giant sea creatures, but they also represent just this endless vast ocean, this thing that swallows people up with no regard for anything, and no matter how skilled a sailor you might be, you could become, just another victim of a giant wave or of a terrible storm. So, yeah, kaiju are a great representation of a fear of something so large that we can't possibly detain it or destroy it.
Overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I don't actually know if kaiju is specifically a movie term, like if it wasn't born from the entertainment world and kaiju became the word for it, or if kaiju actually has a longer and older meaning, like were dragons considered kaiju? Is that the word that they use? I've only ever known it as Godzilla and his friends. Giant monsters. But that's worth an examination. That's worth a lookup. Is kaiju a word that they applied to these cinema creatures, or when the cinema creatures came up, did they coin the phrase kaiju?
And we'll have the answer to that in 26 episodes.
That's right. We'll come back around to K, and you'll be like, "What is he talking about?"
I don't remember that.
I think that's a pretty successful look at K. K is actually a pretty difficult word, as it turns out.
Yeah, but I think we did okay. We did okay. Okay.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week when our letter is L?
That is correct.
L.
With a K.